Welcome back. My name is Dr. Mamoon Najjar, and I am on a mission to help people live a life filled with meaning, impact, and fulfillment. Throughout my life, I have searched for the blueprint to a purposeful life. This search has led me to creating this YouTube series based on my book, The Drop That Contains the Ocean, an intelligent pursuit of optimal being. It is the product of years of study, practice, and personal experiences which have allowed me to develop key principles that can help anyone create a life of contribution, success, and joy. Welcome to Chapter 6 of our journey. This chapter will be split into 2 parts, and throughout this video, we will explore how we can gain the business tools for a fulfilling life. We will look at how we can apply business concepts like Six Sigma, Kaizen, and value stream mapping to various aspects of life. We will introduce tools for goal setting, efficiency, and continuous improvement to enhance fulfillment and effectiveness in both professional and personal realms. So let's sit back and relax as we continue on this journey. So, we've discussed some pretty critical concepts in previous chapters to help set goals and live fulfilling lives. We've talked about crafting your intentions and purpose, reflecting on them honestly, and, making corrections when needed. All of that is really geared towards success in ways that go beyond just the narrow definitions. Our society often measures success by just a single measure, like financial wealth or career advancement, for example, that can't really be applied to all aspects of life. That, in turn, can actually lead to unhappiness and misery if we don't broaden our approach. Whatever you learn in life, no lesson stands alone, whether it's from the formal education you receive, your career, your home life, or just your life experiences. As we'll examine in further chapters, our learning is interconnected. We take a skill from one discipline and apply it in another. Whatever you learn from your career, you can use it at home, and whatever you know from home and family, you can apply it in your career and development, and so on. Whatever you learn, just think of it as having a universal application that crosses boundaries into all aspects of your life. With this perspective, you can really maximize your potential and increase your effectiveness. The concepts presented in this book may have originated in business but can be applied to so many different life experiences. When we discuss a concept like Six Sigma or biomimicry, for example, it's not only for the career and defense industry or for managing a production line in a factory. You can actually incorporate principles of these concepts and methods into your leadership style, your family life, and even your community service. Interdisciplinary learning is sort of the connective tissue between your fulfillment and your purpose. Other concepts like the rule of thirds and diversification provide better balance and allow us to factor in the unexpected more accurately. In the process, we separate these concepts from more specific notions of success, like success in business or finance, to really illuminate their limitations. This doesn't mean that such notions should be abandoned, though. We just have to keep them in their proper context, because they provide perspective and balance. Plus, their lessons can easily cross over into other aspects of our lives. That, in turn, allows us to succeed in ways that have nothing to do with business or finance. In this chapter, we'll talk about using systems built for business applications to address goals and intentions in other areas of life. We'll also discuss biological aspects of our thinking, particularly the division between the intuitive and calculative brains, which, dovetail into these concepts. These concepts are presented as guiding ideas rather than complete academic explanations. This isn't a textbook, it's just a map of ideas from various disciplines that can be applied in different areas of life. We'll also discuss some biological aspects of thinking, particularly the intuitive and calculating sides of the brain, known in pseudoscience as the right and left sides. Six Sigma is a discipline that's widely used in business and industry, including healthcare, to maximize efficiency, improve quality, and increase reliability. The process was introduced by engineer Bill Smith while working for Motorola in 1986. The exact discipline may vary from industry to industry, but the focus on quality and reliability really doesn't waver. The name Six Sigma actually comes from the statistical concept of the bell-shaped distribution of a naturally occurring event. A well-known statistical constant is that within 2 standard deviations, 2 on either side of the center of a bell-shaped curve, 95% of events will go on the curve itself, and 5% will fall on the periphery. If we calculate that in terms of the chance of error, that's 5%, which means that 5 out of every 100 products, interactions, or operations will suffer from a mistake. However, increasing the number of standard deviations on either side of the curve from 2 to 3 creates an exponential increase in efficiency. It reduces the chances of error to 3.4 in 1 million. Six Sigma catalyzes methods and techniques to take advantage of that great leap. If used properly, it reduces error and improves the overall quality of the product. Six Sigma applies to the 3 deviations on either side of the curve. If you look closer, nations and humanity have used a version of it almost since the dawn of civilization, and we likely owe much of our species' advancement to its principles. The Romans built roads and aqueducts with it. Architects in the Middle Ages used it to build churches and other structures that stand to this day. In the Muslim world, it was used to make significant astronomical advancements. Their version of Six Sigma improved the data and accuracy of their observations and helped refine tools such as the astrolabe and ephemeris to make future observations easier. They drew upon the ideas of Six Sigma to the benefit of all. They used different terms or applied them in a more generalized way. Today, Six Sigma has become so sharp that many businesses employ efficiency experts who are specifically trained in it. Their job is to reduce error and waste and improve the company's bottom line. They understand the tools and techniques provided by Six Sigma and apply them to various circumstances, allowing the company to perform well in multiple areas. So how does Six Sigma work? How can we implement its tools into the other skills discussed in this book? It starts with defining and setting a goal. With Six Sigma, the goal is to eliminate waste and enhance quality. A term that has been used so often it has become cliché and has become so generalized that it can be applied without discipline and can mean whatever is convenient at the time, neither of which is a part of Six Sigma's goal. In this context, eliminating waste means using the exact amount of resources needed for a given task, no more, no less. It is an easy concept to imagine, but is challenging to implement. However, the simple clarification already gives us a more vital idea of how we might proceed. Knowing what the challenges are going to be lets us prepare for them effectively, and this means eliminating waste. You can apply this with the rules we've discussed, such as course correction, the rule of thirds, and measurable milestones. It means spending resources on contingencies in the event the unforeseen happens. It means benchmarks that compare what you do to comparable efforts in a similar field. And it also means keeping formal indicators of your progress and watching them as part of your dashboard. In business, everything works toward the quality of the product or service. Quality is profitable, that's a business hypothesis. But, we can use these same methods to address other aspects of our lives, from family to hobbies to personal fulfillment. Quality can become a habit or a code of behavior. It can be ingrained in the basics of what we do in all aspects, and it can lead to success in our lives in all manner of things, far beyond business. As we noted earlier, many fine publications discuss the applications of Six Sigma in a business environment. Now, this section will discuss how Six Sigma applies to other aspects of life and, the more diverse goals we may set for ourselves. The first and most important tool in this endeavor is the concept of the 5 whys. Six Sigma explains it as a process of evaluation consisting of 5 parts: define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. The goal, of course, is to find the root of the problem. A broader understanding of the term is that by continuing to ask why, you can eventually uncover the source of whatever has gone wrong and correct it. 5 is a good general guide for how often you ask why. Starting the process is very easy. If you see something happening, right or wrong, you ask yourself, why is this happening? Ideally, that question will provide the answer as to the root cause of the phenomenon. If it doesn't, you simply follow up with a second why that furthers the first, then continue until the source becomes clear. For example, suppose you run a chiropractic business that schedules clients daily. One day the schedule is empty. This is a problem, so you ask your manager why. She replies, because chiropractor X is not here today. Now this provides an immediate answer that clarifies the issue. However, it doesn't adequately explain why the business isn't drawing revenue that day. So you ask a second why. Why is chiropractor X not here today? You might add a third or even a fourth, such as, why don't we have a replacement today? The answer might be, chiropractor X has taken a sick day, and the replacement lacks the proper training. Suddenly the issue becomes much more apparent. Further questioning can bring more focused results, so you ask, why hasn't the replacement been trained? The answer might be, well, they haven't had time with their current workload, and then finally comes the answer required to address the problem. You can lower the replacement's workload or prioritize training to correct the oversight. The 5 whys will inevitably lead you down that path until you find the required information. If you are uncertain as to whether your questioning has genuinely revealed the root cause, or whether you need to ask further why, you can apply 2 criteria. Firstly, can identifiable action be taken to address the issue as it stands? And second, will taking that action prevent the issue from recurring? If the answer to either question is no, you should keep asking whys until that changes. This demonstrates how the 5 whys should function in daily life. Regularly practicing them can build the habits required for more sophisticated practices. A similar tool in Six Sigma is the 5S system, which improves efficiency in a physical workspace. This system applies to organizational elements such as tool location and product classification, to ensure multiple groups can use such resources with minimal problems or trouble. The 5S system is as follows. 1. Sort. For example, separate knives from forks or bolts from screws. 2. Set. A simple way of saying take the time, labeling each sorted group appropriately and determining storage spaces that are easy to find. 3. Shine or keep your area clean. This applies daily and can often help keep the space organized by default. 4. Standardize or make the process easy for everyone to understand and practice. 5. Sustain. You are making the above steps a regular, standardized part of your day. These exemplify small ways to apply Six Sigma to improve efficiency. Forming habits like these will help cement similar habits on a much broader scale for issues large and small. Value Stream Mapping, or VSM, visualizes steps toward your goal. It's simply a flow chart or, a similar visual guide detailing all the pertinent steps and how the product or value you're trying to chart moves through the system. In a business environment, this might chart the progress of a product through development, production, and shipping, or it might chart the flow of needed information from one department to another. The critical aspect is visualizing it, which allows you to put each process step in the proper context. Suppose different stages occur in other locations or involve different departments with various personnel at each stage. In such an environment, it becomes difficult to view the larger picture and thus, more challenging to spot inefficiencies. With VSM, you can quickly encompass all of it and address any system wastefulness by applying the other aspects of Six Sigma discussed above. As with the different methods described, we can apply VSM to non-business processes with similar results. Value Stream Mapping, or VSM, encompasses the following steps. First, determine the size and scale of your value stream map. This begins with establishing the process's starting and ending points. From there, add any pertinent stop on the line, covering the primary stages between the start and end points. Next, add process boxes by breaking each step in your map into smaller steps and listing them beneath their parent step. For instance, a step that entails packaging a product for shipping may include a process box detailing how the product is placed in the box, how the box is sealed, and how the address is labeled and attached. The third step is to add a production control box to indicate who is involved in each process and in which direction information flows. In a business situation, this might be a manager giving orders to workers on one specific step in the process. A family member might unexpectedly have to change their schedule in a home environment. In that case, the flow of information travels from that family member to the others. Fourth, add anticipated wait times and scheduling for each stage, even if it's just a reasonable approximation of how long the various steps in the process should take. make sure to include time to anticipate unexpected and similar stopgap measures. If possible, gather real-time data covering your scheduling and keep it separate from the first set of numbers. And finally, analyze and compare the assembled data for each stage of the map. If you have built 2 timetables, it's a good idea to compare them and see where delays might be occurring. If information flow is a problem, you'll want to determine which parties are responsible and in which direction it flows. Similar methods can be used to address whatever criteria the value stream map is intended to illuminate. Value stream mapping allows you to identify places where things just aren't functioning and, importantly, pinpoint how they're not working. Conversely, value stream mapping is also highly effective at identifying where things are working exactly as they should. These locations actually bear as much scrutiny as more problematic spots, and value stream maps can bear fruit in a similar way. By understanding what is working and why, you can better identify the habits that created those conditions and hopefully implement them in other parts of the process. Regression analysis is a business tool grounded in something far more universal. Chaos and uncertainty are constants, and attempting to account for every contingency often reduces efficiency, sometimes severely. Instead, tools like regression analysis can spot points where known conditions unexpectedly cross over. While it doesn't eliminate every contingency, it can fine-tune your preparations and reduce the number of potential complications. In business, it's often an elaborate statistical process designed to understand the relationship between all the elements. So, what this really means is understanding how things are interrelated and how an organization can use that knowledge to enhance the quality of its final product. Such studies can often be quite elaborate and require experience in statistics and economic analysis. However, the basic steps actually have broad applicability and can help identify potential problems. A general outline of these steps follows. First, identify the variables. Regression analysis entails 2 types of variables. Dependent variables involve outcomes you are directly trying to track, like how much a business makes each month, or making sure a busy family has a meal together a few nights a week. Independent variables provide viable risks to the dependent variables. To draw on the earlier example, a business might experience delays in delivery after switching to a cheaper transportation service, cutting their profits, while a busy family may have several activities that they are unwilling or unable to give up. Secondly, you determine the practical significance of the variables interacting. How often do they take place, and what kind of impact do they have when they do? The delivery delays may happen less frequently than they seem, which suggests another cause of the inefficiency. Or they may occur as often as you suspect and are as confounding as they appear. Pinpointing those factors can determine the risk of letting the 2 variables interact. And finally, analyze the significance of the variables interacting and look for ways to avoid conflict. For instance, the business might pay more for a better transportation service. At the same time, the family might move their dinner time or designate weekend dinners as family dinners when conflicts are less likely. These steps are a methodology for self-assessment. The more you practice such analysis, and the broader the array of activities and variables you apply it to, the more your skills will improve. This, in turn, enhances the accuracy of your analysis and allows you to correct your course more efficiently. Kaizen isn't strictly Six Sigma, but it really stems from the same ethos. It's a compound word, translated from Japanese as good change or continuous improvement. It began at the Toyota Corporation, but like many other terms in this chapter, its philosophical roots go back much further. Kaizen is a directive to always strive to improve in all aspects of our life, be it work, home life, social life, creative life, or ethical life. It states that minor, incremental improvements in ourselves and our habits accomplish far more than sudden forced lurches forward. As we learn from Aesop's fable, the tortoise and the hare, slow and steady, wins the race. Kaizen relies on self-analysis and course correcting and emphasizes the importance of stopping occasionally and looking both ahead and behind. The formal process consists of 6 steps. Step 1 is to identify a problem that needs a solution. This could be a process that isn't working, or maybe a step that creates unnecessary conflict. The Kaizen methodology, often refers to these moments as opportunities for self-improvement, rather than problems or crises. Step 2 is to analyze the process. Kaizen integrates with other systems we have discussed, such as value stream mapping and regression analysis. You want to identify points in the process where things are not moving as they should. Try to identify concrete problems in as much detail as possible, and just like the tortoise, take your time. Step 3 is to develop an optimal solution. Optimal in this case means a solution that prevents the problem in question from recurring. It's tempting, to seek practical solutions or half measures that don't address the long-term implications. Step 4 is being able to implement the solution in the best manner available. Step 5 involves studying the results and making adjustments. Checking and rechecking ensures that any additional issues are found and corrected until the process works as effectively as possible. The final step is to standardize the solution. Forming regular habits with everyone involved pays enormous dividends. Standardizing the process that created the optimal solution will ensure optimum efficiency in the future. As always, that process can take countless different forms depending on what you're trying to achieve. I think this is a good time to pause on the first part of Chapter 6. I hope you can take this time to reflect back on what we have gone over. To make things easier, here are some of my key takeaways from this part of the chapter. In the next video, we will explore the remainder of Chapter 6, where we will continue to focus on how we can develop the business tools for a fulfilling life. Inshallah, we will see each other then. Don't forget to like